The diner smelled of fresh coffee and sizzling bacon, the kind of place where strangers often became family. Outside, the rain tapped against the windows like a soft drumbeat, while inside, neon signs flickered, throwing a nostalgic glow over the red vinyl booths. It should have been a safe space, a warm place where anyone could find a smile. But not that morning. That morning, cruelty slithered in, uninvited. At the far end of the diner, the door creaked open, and a girl no older than 16 entered. Her crutches clicked against the tiled floor, each step a battle. She had long brown hair tied back in a loose ponytail and eyes that carried both innocence and the kind of strength that comes only from hardship. Her name was Emily. Born with a condition that weakened her left leg, walking was never easy for her. Yet she never complained, never wanted pity. She only wanted to live as normal as possible. Emily slid into a booth, trying not to notice the 3 teenagers in the corner. They were loud, restless, and cruel in the way people sometimes are when they want attention at the expense of others. They whispered, laughed, and pointed as Emily adjusted her crutches beside the booth. One of them, a tall boy with messy blonde hair, called out in a mocking tone, "Hey, don't trip over those sticks." His friends burst into laughter, the sound sharp and merciless. Emily's face flushed red. She tried to ignore them, focusing instead on the menu, but their voices only grew louder. Another girl chimed in, her words dripping with venom. "What's the point of coming here alone? No one wants to sit with a cripple." The word hit her like a knife. Cripple. She had heard it before, but every time it cut deeper. The waitress, a kind woman in her 50s named Carol, shot the teens a disapproving glare but said nothing. Sometimes silence feels safer, even when it shouldn't. Emily pretended to study the laminated menu though her eyes blurred with tears. She thought about leaving, but pride rooted her in place. She had promised herself she would never let bullies dictate her life again. Still, the laughter echoed, bouncing around in her chest like a cruel echo. She ordered a simple breakfast, pancakes and orange juice, but even then, the teens mocked her, imitating the way she held her fork when her hand trembled slightly. Every bite she took became heavier, weighed down by shame. And then, just when she thought she couldn't take another second, the diner door swung open with a force that rattled the glass. In walked a man dressed in worn black leather. His jacket carried patches from motorcycle clubs, his boots thudded against the floor, and his presence filled the room like a storm rolling in. His beard was thick and gray, his eyes sharp as steel, and on his hands were heavy rings that glimmered under the diner lights. He looked like someone you wouldn't dare mess with. The teens went quiet for a moment, watching him as he made his way to the counter. He ordered coffee, his voice low and gravelly, but then his eyes drifted around the room. That's when he noticed Emily, her trembling hands, the tears she tried so hard to hide, the cruel smirks of the teens still echoing in the booth behind her. The man's jaw tightened. He had seen this before, in his own daughter's life years ago, before illness had taken her. He knew the helpless look in Emily's eyes, the way people shrink when the world makes them feel small. He would not let it slide. Not again. He walked slowly toward Emily's booth. The diner grew silent, every set of eyes following his every step. Emily looked up, startled, as the leather-clad stranger stopped beside her. He gave her a gentle nod. "Mind if I sit here, sweetheart?" Emily blinked, unsure, but nodded. He slid into the booth across from her, the leather of his jacket creaking. "You look like you could use some company," he said softly, his voice rough but kind. The teens whispered, stifling laughter. One of them called out mockingly, "Careful, old man, she might trip and bring you down with her." The diner held its breath. The man turned slowly, his gaze locking on the teens. His eyes were icy, unflinching, and the entire diner seemed to freeze. "Say that again," he growled, his voice low and dangerous. The teens shifted uncomfortably, but one boy tried to hold his ground. "We're just joking. Relax." The man leaned forward, his rings tapping the table with a sharp clink. "Let me tell you something about jokes. A joke is only funny if everyone laughs." Did she laugh? He gestured to Emily, whose eyes were wide, her pancakes forgotten. "No? Then it's not a joke, it's cruelty. And cruelty has consequences." The teens shrank back, suddenly less brave under the weight of his glare. The man continued, his voice steady. You think strength is about tearing someone down? No. Strength is standing tall even when life tries to break you. And that girl, he nodded toward Emily. She's stronger than all of you combined. Every step she takes is a fight. Every day she shows up in this world, she wins. You're just cowards hiding behind laughter. The diner erupted into quiet murmurs, some nodding in agreement. The teens shifted, red-faced and ashamed. For once, they had no snappy comeback. The man turned back to Emily, his eyes softening. Don't ever let people like that dim your light. They're just noise. You're the song. For the first time that morning, Emily smiled, small but real. The weight on her chest lifted, replaced by something warmer, hope. The teens left soon after, unable to face the stares of the other diners. Karma had arrived, not with fire or fury, but with truth, wearing black leather and carrying the voice of someone who had lived enough life to know the value of kindness. Emily finished her pancakes, and before she left, the man pressed a $20 bill into her hand. For next time, he said. And remember, sweetheart, you're stronger than you think. She walked out of the diner on her crutches, head held higher than when she came in. For the first time in a long while, she didn't feel small. She felt seen. And everyone who witnessed that moment left with something to think about, that cruelty is easy, but kindness is what changes lives. Closing, narration style for YouTube. And that's the truth of life, karma always finds its way back. Those who mock others eventually face their reflection, and those who endure find their strength shining brighter than anyone imagined. Friends, if this story touched your heart, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever seen kindness stand up against cruelty? Share your story in the comments below. And if you believe in spreading compassion and standing against bullying, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Be Kind Always, where every story reminds us that kindness is the greatest strength of all.